by KT Rolster. So now moving into Champion Select, can the revenge actually come out? Zoe going to be banned against BDD. Understandable. There's Aatrox, of course. The first red side ban.
A little bit surprised to see the Zoe hit the ban list. Seems like the jungle pool going to be a lot more open, so maybe KT aren't going to prize one as highly. Reason why I say that is that Yukal has been a fantastic Galio this season, and could definitely play some of the picks you can take into that Zoe, but...
Yeah, Galio and Yasuo, both decent picks into Zoe, both fantastic picks for Yukal.
BD's Zoe's been fine, but hasn't been revolutionary. Regardless, they don't want to deal against Zoe. Maybe they want to go for a pick comp and not have to worry about pick threat once again. KT Rolster final ban here on the blue side. Remember, Sejuani has been an interesting ban by the side of Kingzone. Peanut's got some confidence. Now you wonder if a first pick Trundle will pull out a Nidalee from Peanut. That would be a blast from the past.
Tahm Kench going to be banned away here by KT. It's not the next patch where he's got the most ludicrous Devour cooldown. As our Kingzone now considering whether or not to ban the Taliyah.
Taliyah, Nocturne, Trundle, they're all things you could consider banning against KT Rolster.
Taliyah has to be a huge one with the fact that they can flex it all over the place. Kindred is going to be the ban here. Kingzone throwing the gauntlet, assuming that it's probably Yukal that will be playing the Taliyah, but I've seen Marta spamming that thing in solo queue, and it's going to be locked in here for KT.
It'd be just a mistake not to take the Taliyah first pick, because like you mentioned, they have a Yukal on the lineup, a wonderful Taliyah player. Kingzone are saying they're going to make their adjustments elsewhere, and they're happy enough with the Swain, and now we have Swain Trundle, famous duo on the side of Kingzone. KT, because they didn't opt into jungle bans, there are options for them to go in terms of jungler into this Trundle pick.
The only one is actually the Gragas that's sort of standing out here. Score having to lock that one in if he wants it, but that is going to be the Shen once again. And theoretically, they could actually lock in Shen Nocturne and have Taliyah as well.
And for some teams, the Taliyah Shen would also be a duo bot lanes. Already you can tell.
Yeah.
Many different layers being covered. We're going to get Azir in the first round here. Orianna is not going to be prized into the Azir, and Orianna priority has been very high recently. Azir can poke away the Swain as well. It'd be very surprising to see Orianna taken by the side of Kingzone, but BDD is a fantastic Orianna player, and maybe he wants to go into a matchup that on paper should be very comfortable for the Azir.
Yeah, we saw Pyrion versus Tempt yesterday. It was the Azir that was able to take over that matchup. It was beautiful from Tempt. That was the game that BBQ were able to win. Kingzone, a slightly different identity now with the Shockwave being available for them, but with the Trundle, with the Swain, two massive power picks. And now with red side, they can throw in the bans towards KT and navigate through this one. But where is the Taliyah going? That's the question. Most likely not into the support position, and Score should be the one playing it, but it just doesn't feel to me like a Score champion.
You, of course, are doing your research and noticed that Mata was playing some Taliyah.
It, man.
But with the Shen on the lineup, that would require Smeb to be on the Shen. Has played it in the past many times, of course, but we're probably going to see that Taliyah jungle in this game from Score. Saw Tarzan have some great games on the Taliyah, so like for like, you would think that Score be able to do some interesting things on this pick. Speaking of picks, the Cho'Gath pick going to be denied away from the side of Kingzone, may provoke a last pick top laner rather than an earlier pick.
Now, we didn't see too many top lane bans to come in from Kingzone as they ban away the Jace. Wow, respecting Smeb's Jace when you've got Khan on the roster certainly shows that Kingzone want to be able to take them down this game.
Does suggest that they think KT are going to be blind picking their top, and thus that they're going to be last picking top, is what you kind of take away when you see a Jace ban here. Wait and see if that's indeed true. We've seen a lot of Jace priority this week after it being a tertiary pick for a long time. GP ban here, so a lot of top laners take it in the second round of bans.
Some comfortable top laners being banned away here as well. So Gangplank often just picked, and then it doesn't matter which lane you get.
You just take support here if you're Kingzone because you want to last pick that top lane in the Jace coverage ban. But it suggested that they won't go for the Rakan. They actually go for a riskier choice in the Pyke.
Well, it looks like Swain Pyke will be the lane on the bottom side of the map, meaning that, like you were talking about before, Khan will be able to get that counter pick on the top side of the map. This would be odd.
Outplay potential for days on a Vayne, but we've had none in the LCK in Summer. The Kai'Sa, though, this is the new thing for KT. They're willing to take Kai'Sa Shen into potentially a very tricky lane. Probably going to be the Pyke and the Swain, you would imagine, but Khan could be playing that Swain in the top lane, and, well, why not Gnar is the choice when we have Cho'Gath, the GP, and the Jace taken away.
And this is the Pong composition as well. I mean, you've got the Gnar to bounce into the Emperor's Divide that Yukal sets up, to smash into a Weaver's Wall that's been set up from Score. So many options as far as KT creating terrain and then throwing people at it. As that's the Camille. So we're going to have a Gnar versus Camille matchup top side of the map. And that's the counter pick that Khan is going to opt into.
Two options there are the Kennen and the Camille. The Camille fits more into the teamfight identity, can be a ball carrier for the Orianna. It also doesn't pigeonhole them to being very high on magic damage, as the AP Kennen, which is what we saw from Khan last time, would be. The Camille needs to have some jungle coverage in order to take aggressive hookshot trades to make this range versus melee matchup work, but if you go biggest Camille, you often are very, very happy in the laning phase. So Kingzone do end up counterpicking for Khan at the last. Mid lane is the interesting one. BDD, a fantastic Orianna player, but bold to take it into the already selected Azir.
Yeah, and Azir, the first time that we've seen Yukal on this pick as well for the season. So we'll see how he's going to do. Has been playing it in solo queue, but we'll see how he goes up against BDD on the Orianna that's been every... Alright, some shenanigans here in the early game as Deft actually takes the supercharge in order to get out of the way. Fans in the audience.
Supercharge level 1 is actually fine for the Kai'Sa. Q level 1 doesn't really do much, and Supercharge does help with the pushing in lane, so just opens up space there, and they know the invade was coming in. Taliyah is very an interesting jungle champion. Usually you think of her as just a damage champion. Certainly she does do outrageous damage in the early game, but if your pathing is solid, she has the ability to path faster than basically any other jungler with her passive. If you find the enemy jungle, get the drop on them and hit your seismic shove, you force them out of the jungle. And even pathing junglers can make a lot out of Taliyah. When you look at her first, you thought, okay, it's going to be for the aggressive junglers only. Peanut and Umti, they're going to be the Taliyah players. But now we're seeing that Tarzan and Score are going to favor this pick as well because of what it provides around the map.
Also able to start this game with a lot of information. Can't going to help out with the leash, so would have understood probably that Peanut had started here on this Crimson Brambleback, but all information that you can glean of where the Trundle is going to be important. Score takes away his red buff very early, but unbeknownst by the looks of things to Kingzone.
And do note that Peanut was, of course, on a ward when he started. They don't know which side the Score started on. We know that he's onto the blue buff, and obviously the Rift Scuttle hasn't spawned yet. This is red buff into top lane gank. That's what the Trundle is looking for.
Yep, Smeb should be able to get on top of one of these minions if he gets the hop, but he doesn't. He's level 1. The flash is going to come in. Double flash out from Kingzone as Peanut's happy to tank up the turret. And they had a lot of projection that was happening, but didn't understand that Peanut was going to be that aggressive.
Smeb thought that he was going to be camping the Scuttle Crab and that he would have to pull away after level 2 when he would have his bounce, but he doesn't have the bounce at level number 1, and it just becomes too easy. I think you have to consider playing the lane differently, knowing that for sure the enemy jungler was on your side. The jungle, nice path from Peanut though, and another early kill to Kingzone.
Yeah, another early kill for the Trundle as well. And we saw Songwon yesterday fantastically navigate a fed Trundle game. It was beautiful work out of Hanwha Life to get themselves back into that 3-game series. Now, similar performances back-to-back here from Peanut in early games on the Trundle. Vision availability here on the side of Kingzone, but not going to be able to do anything about Score tearing apart this Raptor camp.
Score can't know that Krugs was the only further camp that Peanut took, still level 2. Hoping to take his bot side jungle. Seems like that'll be left open, but they know where Taliyah is. Taliyah will get to the other side, isn't spotted on the vision around mid lane. Yukal gave up a cannon minion to do a little harass onto the Orianna. So this is definitely about pushing. See where they're pushing to as Taliyah going to go for the double scuttle at minimum.
Yep. And he's going to be able to pick it up unless Peanut can get the smite, and he does. So evens out the scuttles. That's huge news, actually. Being able to grab that for Peanut means that Score doesn't have the tempo advantage, given the fact that First Blood and now even scuttles is going to go over to Peanut, despite camp disadvantage for the Trundle. 2 camps, a smite on the scuttle, and an assist gets him level 3. Bit of a different way to get the level 3 than from what we usually see. Zone
The bot side here, they're going to push in and be happy in the early game. I'm excited to see this lane evolve. We don't get to judge too many Kai'Sa lanes. Speaking of that duo lane, here comes Score.
Yep, Gorilla's going to face check it. He's going to throw down some rocks as Score will just surf his way out of there. Going to be successful on this gank on the bottom side of the map, but good to see KT getting some help down there where they were sort of left on their own in game number 1 and were severely punished.
And now that the Gnar has already died in lane and used Flash, you'd imagine that Khan can continue to take very aggressive trades against the Resolve Gnar. Mid lane, we know that Trundle's here.
Yep, Pillar is going to come down. Thankfully, Yukal's able to surf over, but it's really good positioning, and Peanut gets the auto attacks that he needs. No teleport available for Yukal. You can see actually gone with the heal. Very defensive choice from both of these mid laners, actually. Kingzone now having to deal with this wave being pushed towards them on the bottom side of the map. That's what Score was able to give. This time around, Kingzone still have a lead, but it's not by much. First Blood being the only goal to separate.
I think Score really needs to find a way to allow the Gnar to really heavily harass Camille and stop Camille from having control wards and agency over the top side. Some control wards would be the start of that. A gank assist would also be big. Smeb has to take the double Ruby Crystal buy as bot
Deft
side.
has to flash level 4 here in this lane. Plasma's stacked up against Gorilla, but he's going to eat through that health. Wear out that timer, and Peanut, he can smell blood in the water down here. Can they actually find any skewers? KT, their spidey senses, of course, tingling. They can't see where the troll is, but they're going to be going back anyway, understanding that they have to play so defensively.
Usually Shen does very well against these double bruiser bot lanes, but because it's the Swain, it actually ends up being better trades for Swain Pike than you first imagine. Usually the way you win is that Shen goes in, gets a double taunt, puts on the dodge field, and it's free damage. Just speaking of free damage.
Yep, Yukal going to get himself over that wall. A little bit confusing in what we saw on the spectator client, but that was him just surfing on his soldiers to get himself out. Azir very safe against a lot of these ganks coming in from the Trundle.
Swain can use the Death's Hand for a return trade and the Never Move, and the dodge field doesn't interact with the Swain trades, so you actually trade better in those burst trades that a Shen support always wants to rely on with the Swain than most of the other top lane picks we usually see.
Well, speaking of top lane picks, bit of a fight happening up here as Score has finally put in a little bit of notice into what Smeb's been doing. B2D trading pretty heavily with Yukal, who does have his Corrupting Potion to keep him safe. Respectful build from B2D with the Merc Treads means that now able to navigate through, seeing an Orianna ahead in farm is certainly something that we come to expect. Just to try moving up towards his jungle to try and protect Peanut as he takes his red buff, understanding that they didn't quite have vision on the Talia. Now going to be pinged out as she's on her red buff as well as Peanut.
On a control ward that was put down earlier on the bot side of the map. Yukal with a Boots 2 disadvantage will actually find it hard to take the winning trades you usually expect in an Azir vs Orianna matchup. Don't have that outrange potential as reliably. There's this much of a movement speed difference between the two. Score hasn't been able to find that big moment yet this game. Has been boxing with shadows a little bit as Trundle has had some creative pathing that has put him to shame.
Yep, Weaver's Wall available, which is why Score was hanging around here in this mid lane, wondering whether Yukal was going to get ganked. As B2D does have Shockwave available, but now taking a lot of punishment from the minions, as you saw just there. We have UCS in the lead, and now with this blue buff, Yukal is going to have a lot of ability to get some work done. Gnar into the wall here as it's a huge stun. Rock lands, Smeb going for the 1v1 kill. Wants to get that mini Gnar back. Oh, the boulder's going to connect. The flash from Score doesn't want to waste any time and picks up the kill on the Camille.
Don't need mechanics, can flash smite, baby. He's dead. Nicely done there. They get the kill, but on the bot side of the map, Peanut says, all right, I want a drink.
Will they be able to get it? Looks like the answer is going to be yes, given the relative disadvantage that Deft and Mata have at this particular stage in the game. It's going to be good farm numbers for the Kai'Sa, but it does mean they have to give up a bit of this map pressure that's available to Kingzone. This is what KT wanted, though. They wanted to get Smeb into a good position. Now has Ninja Tabi. Double Ruby Crystal is not going to be as good as a Tiamat, but he's just trying to get through the lane, get himself to a good position as Cloud Drake going to be coming up second. Earth, wind, and then hopefully some fire to come in again. Not quite September yet, but it feels like it.
I knew you'd go there. The moment you started talking about the types of Drake, I knew you were going
really
there.
like Earth, Wind, and Fire.
That's good. They're great band.
Smeb going to turn back up towards the top side of the map here, and 5 CS behind. No worries, as Khan did have that counterpick advantage of the Camille. It's not a huge counterpick, but was something that Khan was very comfortable in this matchup.
It's a counterpick if you can take hookshot trades and not be punished for it, and that's usually a result of the jungle matchup more than a result of the 1v1. For now, waiting to see the control ward. It goes down, and that means that Camille will be winning the lane until that can be changed, and it seems like Score going to be looking for a better spot on the other side of the rift.
Yeah, the only part of his jungle that is available is the Gromp, but that's actually warded at this current point in time. You can see Kingzone moving towards the bottom side, and that's where Score wants to be as well. His counter-gank senses always been what Score's been great at. Doesn't have Weaver's Wall, but should be able to find position here against the pushing wave of Kingzone. Peanut also understanding that it's probably too dangerous. He moves out of the way as well. It's a game of chess between the junglers here this game. So many points that they need to focus on.
And that's the really rewarding thing for me watching is all of those incomplete informations being put together to the recall eventually being forced out, the Taliyah being there for a counter gank. That's the sort of thing that both teams on the VOD review will be praising their players for, and that's a sign that it's a high-level game because everyone was in the right spot, and in the end, there's no big action from it.
Well, Peanut going to get contested here on his Raptor camp, and you might say that, yes, he watched him smite. That's no big deal. Giving information as to where Peanut moved after that recall is very important. You can see the pings going down, and now Smeb understands that he will have to play a little bit more defensively topside. Gromp now taken from Score, did walk over a ward there as well. So pretty even vision now being collected, but control ward now going to be replaced here by KT. Score moving over. You can see it's not going to be Smeb taking down this control ward at this point in time.
He's got Mega Gnar, so he's definitely setting up for a flash ult here.
Yeah, he's going to get the crush, gets the Gnar ult into the wall. Going to get the slowdown onto Khan as well, as the seismic shove going to be avoided, but he has to move into the pebble. Score grabs the kill once again as the fight is on the bottom side, but KT are winning this one pretty handedly. The taunt to come in. Good God, Mata is a beast. Flashes afterwards. Smeb going to be able to get himself a kill. The Kai'Sa falls down, but Peanut's going to tank turret shots. And Smeb is going to kill the Pyke in the meantime. It's a 2-for-1, and now there's a Trundle in a god-awful position, looking for the execute because that's the best that he'll be able to find.
Well, he's got the pillars. Yukar really wants to kill.
2 summoner spells to pick up a kill on the Trundle.
I don't know if that's worth. Now that Orianna says, ooh, a Shockwave's looking pretty tasty in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's like buying a banana for $700.
Oh, baby. Deft used his ultimate to get away from the start of this trade. Obviously, Kingzone are baiting because the Trundle is coming down. But Deft's Killer Instinct gets him away from taking a lot of damage to begin. He may go down, but it's almost an instant double kill to a taunt from a support Shen. They do clean up the kills. Not sure about the double summoners, but Yukar just says, let's pile in and get all the kills we can.
Yeah, exactly. I want to join this party. I don't care what it costs. And both his D and F buttons now on cooldown. See whether it's going to be worth it as he's on the way to his Nashor's Tooth. Still foregoing Boots too, like you were talking about, but has some brown bags here and is still behind by about the same margin. Khan respecting the Killer Instinct a lot, despite the fact that it's not off cooldown just yet.
And they've had enough of the laning phase, clearly. But Mana goes top, already taunt down, no flash.
Yeah, he's going to dash already as well, so he should just die here. A little bit overly aggressive. Peanut, good position. Kingzone are even going to be able to get this control ward as well. A huge blunder, honestly, as it all unpacks, given the vision advantage that Kingzone are now gifted.
The only reason to make that swap is take the Rift Herald here, and I can understand KT wanting that if you get vision supremacy around the Rift Herald. Seismic Shove, you can kill basically everyone. As an early game Taliyah, 2 kills already to the good is Score, but of course went for the aggressive ward and just straight up died. Had no escape plan. So too bold from Mata. It was while the Taliyah was still bot side, so the timing just didn't line up.
KT with the gold advantage, Kingzone with the dragon advantage. And as we illustrated earlier on, Kingzone very good at getting dragons per game and are going to continue doing so this game. Cloud Drake going to be the next one, up in about a minute and a half. And very close. So the Storm Razor is Deft. Never moved down, Deft moves forward. But Peanut is waiting in the wings.
As the tech that was brought out the same time in the LCK and the LPL, the Storm Razor on the Kai'Sa in the bot lane. Basically, it gives you 75 AD. It's a 1-item power spike, which is what Storm Razor was invented for. And you can go Storm Razor and the Rage Blade but kind of two very nice little power pieces that may not have the crit synergy, but still provide a lot of early front-loaded power to the Kai'Sa and stops the build being delayed as well. We're all top lane again.
We are. Ghost Water Dive not going to be enough to get Gorilla in range for a Bone Skewer, and Deft just uses his Supercharge to get himself out of the way. The thing I really love about getting Rageblade second is it means you sort of evolve everything at once with Stormrazor, and the Rageblade fits nicely. Despite not having the Stormrazor synergy, you have everything else synergy from that remember, one item.
Stormrazor kind of has a little bit of synergy with the Rapid Fire Cannon or the first Seal item and the negative synergy with the IE, so it's not as bad to combo away from Stormrazor and just use it for early burst and the 100 AD mark.
I'm going to go aggressive here against Smeb. Does have that physical damage shield. Is the hook shot going to be dodged by Smeb? Very cute. Khan half health. Certainly feels like a real close matchup between these two with these two champions as well. A huge one for Khan and a huge one for Smeb. Especially currently, his Nara's looked brilliant, and now with the health advantage.
He won't. Watching scores here. Peanut needs to know about this.
Seismic shot comes down. He just pops. See you later, Camille. And the troll is going to get there a little bit too late. Scores look damn good. Killing spree now for the Taliyah. His first of the season. Of course, they played it 3 times, but it's been Yukal every single time. Even over at Rift Rivals, it was Yukal. He was jungling it in the funnel scenario.
We didn't see it as the screen was off-center, but Smeb actually uses, I believe, as he was transforming into Mini Gnar, as he was about to run out of the Mega Gnar bar. That's, I was wondering how they got the CC under the turret, but nicely done. Pick up the kill. Easy cleanup. Like you say, KT just seemed like a good Taliyah team, whether it is Yukal, the legendary Taliyah, or Score on his first ever competitive game on the pick. Deft Armada, push up on the top side. Nice lane assignment for the Kai'Sa. The CS continues to roll in.
And Deft has now evolved that Q as well, so a lot of burst damage availability from this Kai'Sa. Like you talk about all the time, Stormrazor into Pickaxe is pretty nice for getting that extra damage. Yukal waiting for an Emperor's Divide play, does have the opportunity to get in there as Gorilla is very squishy. There's the Gnar! There's the Yukal! As Azir rips them apart, they'll get the turret as well as Khan gets away. Deft says, hell no you're not. And Peanut also going to suffer the wrath of all this damage from KT. Has to flash to get out of the way, but KT are layering kills with objectives, and they are snowballing the hell out of this early game.
KT are desperate to pick up their first game win over Kingzone this year. They are down 0-7. They're down 0-1 in this series. But every time Kingzone try to play chicken with them, KT say thank you very much, and they trade up.
Yep, this is why Taliyah is banned in almost every single game, guys. She is ludicrous. Even in the match that MVP lost, Yondu was almost able to solo that game out. We're going to have a look at this play yet again.
The case in point, what about that Shen from Mada? The taunt flash into 2. They got burst damage for days. Put down the dodge field. Mada take a bow. He'll never win an MVP on the Shen, apparently, even though he deserved one. SpoTV, I'm looking at you. But in this particular game, they're able to pick up the kills. They continue to increase the pace, and to the tune of that 3,000 to 4,000 gold mark, which for some reason has been the standby of this series.
It is. Already, we'll see whether KT can actually snowball it further forward. Something that KT have been very good at is either doing do or die plays. So being able to rest on their laurels has never been something you've spoken about when it comes to KT. And with a composition like this, they probably want to. Given the fact that Deft is now on the Kai'Sa, they want to scale as much as possible.
Speaking of scaling, the chief offender on the screen for a moment there in the Orianna, who's done nothing this game, been roamed on, such as Orianna. They want to kill Smeb.
Speaking of getting roamed on.
It's the Battle of the Rocks Tigers.
Yeah.
Who will win?
Well, it looks like Smeb's just going to flash himself out of the way. He's going to survive. That wallop was so damn good to get the double stun.
Sees 3 old teammates and says, see you later, guys. Liking this KT lifestyle, at least this game.
Well, he's going to lose a turret for it, so at least they're going to be able to take his house down. Getting a bit of revenge here. The rest of the Rocks Tigers in this game. Smeb turns up, though. He wants to come back. Guys, don't break down my house. I still love you.
The love being reciprocated in a different way on the top side than perhaps Kingzone realized. Def getting a lot of free time with this turret. Has a lot of attack speed, but will not be able to complete it. Draws a teleport out of the swing.
Yeah, Score not going to be able to see where that teleport was coming from. Not going to be able to move up and shove him out of the way to cancel it. It's going to be Prey turning up. He's going to clear out the minions, and they're not going to get the inner turret. Outer turret in the mid lane still available, which is great news for B2D. Orianna not liking a long lane, liking a short one where she can move back under a turret. and safely farm these minions up. But speaking of farming, Yukal, he's been much further around this map and still able to stay very close and competitive in farm with the Orianna. And now it looks like they finally will be able to get themselves a Rift Herald.
The matchup didn't go as well as we saw it a couple of days ago when Tempt ran away with this matchup as the Azir. But that's because there was a lot of pressure for Peanut, who was getting the proactive ganks off, and Skål was playing outside of the mid lane. Top and bot was where he was going. So instead, Yukal used the other thing that you're going to have as the Azir, the ability to push out quickly, leave lane, and try to impact other lanes more reliably. He's made things happen. BDD is farmed, and now you either hit your shockwave or really all that gold was kind of wasted onto the Orianna.
I feel like he's going to have to hit a couple of shockwaves. Yeah. Honestly, at this point in the game, BDD is going to need to get some money somehow in order to make himself worthy of respect. Because otherwise it will be a lot of these shockwaves that just move people around, they have a bit of fun, and then destroy you afterwards. Orianna's always been that way, where she just requires a little bit more oomph. You look at 3 items, but you also have to look at the clock as to when she's able to put the items together. Oblivion Orb picked up a second one here for BDD.
I'm just enjoying this lore battle of the Rocks Tigers trying to kill Smeb at every opportunity. The Defector, if you guys don't remember, Smeb was the first one to leave the famous 5 and thus drew a lot of criticism from the fans. Players themselves have said they understood, but does play into the history here. Smeb says, are they gone yet? Is it time?
It's like the jungle variety of the Rocks Tiger. He's
They're
going to hang around. Gorilla is going to move a little bit further away. He obviously wasn't quite as mad as the other two. Staying in very close proximity gives KT the opportunity to use the Rift Herald in the mid lane.
If you know 3 people on bot side, how about a Rift Herald mid lane and Orianna's safe wave clear? That's a thing of the past. Goodbye, says the turret.
What's the best turret to grab in against an Orianna composition as well? It is that mid one. We were just talking about it, and the Sun turret put up as well. It's now, I guess, another very short lane, but this is not the position of the lane that you wanted as the Ori.
And it's a very cookie cutter point of Orianna finds it hard to farm outside of a short lane like mid. But obviously she can kill minions at the inner turret. Problem is, if you go to an inner turret, someone like Def might show up, and Prey's finding out about that now.
Yeah, that's an outer turret, but Prey's still going to be dead. The auto attack going to pick that one up. Marta could have done it if he wanted to, but he didn't. Bone Sewer going to land on the bottom side of the map, but that's a love tap from Gorilla as, oh, that was a shuffle from Yukal. Gets himself round the corner, but not going to yield any results, and the inner turret stays up for the moment.
But that treatment that Prey got could definitely happen to BDD if he tries to farm in the side lane. The hypermobility of the Kai'Sa, a new thing since the last Orianna meta, can chase down anyone trying to farm a side lane. Speaking of side lanes, he already did a lot of damage, that inner turret before. He wants it now, and, well, it's time to kill Smeb again.
Yep, Seismic Shove, though, is going to mean that Peanut's the one falling down the crush. They're going to switch positions. As it's like Smeb moved into the jungle when he was on the Rocks Tiger. Doesn't happen. As Peanut does get to safety. Nicely played score, reminding Smeb why he moved. Rage Blade now picked up for Deft as well, so huge news for KT in the items. It's been a long time since Yukal has gone back to base, but looking at Smeb's items, he's got the Black Cleaver and the Frozen Mallet. He's feeling great as he heads back home. And we were illustrating the AP values. Score, with the current items that he has, I believe has more AP than Yukal until that Void Staff plus Needlessly Large Rod were completed. That's over 2,000 gold that Yukal went back with, and now these shuffles that he's been demonstrating he can certainly do will be a huge problem for Kingzone. And
there's a lot of certainty about what Kingzone's draft does. Camille goes in, Orianna's like, well, you can't juke out of my shockwave this time. You've got Hextech Ultimatum on you. Swain wants to roll, and it piles in, and you can see the synergy there. The problem is, if you do that, with Zhonya's very early picked up, KT at 2 items on their Kai'Sa, do you win the fight? It's not a question that Kingzone thought they would be asking after the Camille got a nice lead in the lane earlier in the game. But they've already lost the 1v1 after all the repeated ganks onto Khan found a lot more value than the ones onto Smeb earlier. And now we're at the point where I think Kingzone actually lose 5v5s, and that means that comp kind of loses out in every single way.
Yeah. Kingzone going to be able to at least take down their Crimson Brambleback, but that's not going to be enough to defend the inner turret.
And even that perfect fight, they don't have map vision to really create it. It's going to be created at KT's leisure, not Kingzone's leisure. So if ever KT was going to win a game against Kingzone, this is certainly primed up to be the one. They've been blown out of the water every other game. This one, though, they're doing the blowing up.
Oh, seismic shove to come in as Khan does get out of the way. Uses the hook shot nicely after the shove came in, but that's still going to spell the end of the inner turret on the bottom side of the map. That's all of the outers done. Inhibitor turrets are the last ones that remain as Deft. He's the one in this 1-3-1, splitting on the top side of the map, and I think it's a good idea because, honestly, he assassinated a Swain by himself, and Stand United is available on Marta.
Well, KT definitely put out a hit. We saw the hit has been put down by Kingzone and Smeb. Hasn't really worked. The hit onto the turrets here has certainly worked by KT. They've got all the outers and inners at 24 minutes, which is really damn fast. A turret every 4 minutes, if you don't mind. The Talia has worked a trick, and not even onto Yukal. We've got such long lanes, and you know what? Anyone shows up with a CC, and you best believe the Kai'Sa's going to be joining. Free farmed, fed to some degree, everything falling into place for KT.
And you saw Marta there. This is the pretty much epitome of difference between Game 1 and Game 2. He gets hit by a pillar. In Game 1, that would have been dead Shen. Everyone from Kingzone would have piled on top. Thanks for the pick. Everything's great. This time around, Kingzone just don't have the vision to understand whether or not Marta is just going to turn around and taunt them, and KT's going to pile on top. Too many opportunities, of course. The taunt plus Killer Instinct is such an easy way to let Deft turn up to any situation if he's within range of that basically global ultimate.
KT had no answers in game number 1, but they have the answers here. If we see the ultimatum, the scoop was always one of the best ways to disengage that ultimate. They've got that Emperor's Divide to do that. So for now, while sieging is not fantastic, the Seer might actually be better than the Kai'Sa in that particular arena. The map control and the eventual fallback Baron are what KT are all about.
Yep. And they're controlling the map on the bottom side. You can see that one's pushing forward. Khan will have to head towards his inhibitor turret if he wants to clear that one out, meaning that KT now have a lot of distance between them and Kingzone, and will understand exactly when Kingzone decide to come and check this Baron. It's already at half health, and Smeb is gatekeeping.
It's so fast.
Deft isn't even here, and they're still murdering this Baron within seconds. Talia and Azir is despicable damage on the purple worm.
Deft didn't even get to auto it.
He
actually
didn't
got there
touch it
too
at
late.
all.
Whoops. Able to pick it up. Predicting that someone's in the brush, but missing it there. Well, if that's a skill shot you miss, that's fine there.
Yeah.
Kingzone, just no way to check it. We already said a fallback Baron was what KT was going to get. Push up every lane, fall back to it, and if you are 3 seconds late, apparently the Baron dies instantly at 25 minutes into the game. And BDD says, well, I've got a lot of farm, guys. Maybe I'll hit the Shockwave, but again, I think if he misses a Shockwave this game, the game ends. If he doesn't Shockwave, the game ends. A lot of different conditionals where the game ends.
Yeah, and also if he hits the Shockwave, people just move around a bit.
And how many more? Ends. How many more does he have to hit in a row before the good things happen?
Well, I think he needs to hit one. They need to all pile on top of the members that they've clumped together and then win the fight. And then the next one has to be respected for its damage values, because right now he's fallen behind by just too much. Yes, he does have that death cap on the way. He's going to forego the Void stuff, which a lot of Orianas would head towards. Deft is going to get flashed on here. Wants to use the Killer Instinct, does so to get behind Peanut. The Zhonya's does have the active there available as Deft flashes over, and KT turn up in the defense of their Kai'Sa. He falls in the end. It's the death from below that gets it, but they invest so much. Prey is going to go into stasis to watch himself die to the seismic shove, and there's the scoop.
Baby!
He can't flash that BDD, and Yukal's going to get it. The hula hoop is there, but it's not going to do anything. And Deft, he's got a teleport, but he's going to have to watch this one from the death chamber as KT Rolster looking to spell the end of this game.
It's the tastiest flavor Yukal could ever order. A scoop of BDD, if you don't mind. Definitely a nice one for KT. They will not go down 0-8. They will force a game number 3.
They will. Nexus turrets are going to melt. Yukal making this Azir look so damn good in game number 2. The tastiest bait ever in the